What's up, everyone? So, last night went to a couple comedy shows, went to the Improv. The Improv has a audition mic every Tuesday and Wednesday. Went to that, threw my name in the bucket, once again, didn't get called. It's annoying when that happens, but is what it is. What's more annoying is you go to the audition mics and then you find out that one, your name doesn't get called. Two, in the hour and a half or so everyone's getting at the Improv, you get 3 minutes. Last night's mic was really good, but the thing is annoying is when you see someone get up who's like, I'm new at comedy, or I'm new, and then obviously it shows. I don't think anyone ever told them like it's an audition. Like, if you're gonna do stand-up, go do all the open mics. You have every right to do the open mics, and honestly, you have every right to do the Improv. You have every right to do the Laugh Factory, the Comedy Store, Potluck. You have every right to do those. But be warned, they're auditions. And a bad impression, a first impression, bad impression, lasts a long time, dude. So, you've been warned, I guess. Make sure you're doing well before you go in there. Go in there and watch. Go see the caliber. Last night there were so many good comics. It was fantastic to see. It sucks not getting your name called, but when you go and you see the talent pool and you see it's that good, that's your competition. And it's good to see people do well. I like seeing people do well. It's fun to see friends bomb. Not gonna lie. I think all comics can agree. Like, it's fun to see. It's funny. But that's part of the business. We all bomb. Anyways, I'm just here in my kitchen. I'm gotta feed my dogs. Check out my dogs. Look at these boys. Hi, boys. Hi, boys. Hi, boys. Woo! Yeah, that's something new. Because I haven't been on YouTube. I remember one of the hi, buddy. One of the last videos I posted on YouTube before I took a break was our dog Savannah passing away. That really sucked. It really hurts. It's like losing a child. I've never had a dog before, and that was really hard to go through. And then we were fortunate enough a year ago to pick up these two little pups. They're brothers. They were puppies. They were around, I think one was 8 pounds, one was 12 pounds. Now they're around 36 pounds, 37 pounds. But yeah, I gotta feed them, and then today's agenda for comedy, like, I gotta do some writing. I'm gonna spend an hour doing some writing, and then tonight I don't have any shows personally, but like last night I went to the Improv open mic, and then afterwards went to a Wax Poetic show. They had like Brittany Furlan, Steve-O, who quite honestly, like, he's funny on Jackass, I guess, but like that doesn't transfer to on stage. He got up there for like 20 minutes, and like 15 minutes of it, you could hear a pin drop. It was so quiet in there. Jeff Garlin was there doing his Jeff Garlin gets on stage and just talks about shit. He doesn't have any prepared material. Like, he doesn't write jokes. He just gets up and talks. That's called being famous, and like, hey, I'm gonna do stand-up and just get up and talk, and because I'm already famous, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. A little annoying, and then you start bitching about, I can hear feedback. I can hear feedback in the speakers, and usually there's monitors in the front so I can hear myself. Like, he was just complaining. Then after his 20 minutes, he gets off set, walks down the stairs, falls, and breaks his leg. So that was last night's drama. My buddy Kita, he produces that show, Wax Poetic show. They're over in the Bourbon Room in Hollywood, and he comes up to me like 20 minutes later. He's like, bro, man, I've been gone for like 20, 25 minutes. I was like, yeah, where were you? He's like, Jeff Garland just fell down the stairs and broke his leg. I was like, oh shit. But overall, the night was good. My buddy John Arnazzi, it was one of his first shows. He did really well. So I went to 3 shows last night. And that was the last show, the Bass Hole Show. There's a show called... Doug Bass is a comedian, a local comedian here in LA. And he produces a show called the Bass Hole Show, where people get up and tell asshole stories. That was funny. That was fun. But tonight's agenda, going to support my buddy David Hardy, very funny comedian, and his wife, Marissa Fennell, who is also a hilarious comedian. She's probably one of my favorite female comedians. But I'm going to go watch them tonight. Because a big part of this business, the business side, is networking. You have to, like, I try to go out 5 nights a week. Try to get out at least 5 nights a week. Don't want to do 7 nights a week because I have a wife, I have kids, I got responsibilities. But I'm performing a lot more, and I'm performing every week. Pretty much every week. I mean, there's a couple times where, like, I'll go 2 weeks without performing. But I'm performing every week. Like last week I had 3 shows. The week before I had 2 shows. This next week I have a show. The week after that I have 2 shows. So it's like, but when I don't have shows, I try to go out and support friends. Go out and network. Find out who the producers are. Who's booking that show. Can I get on that show? Do I want to get on that show? It's like, I don't want to do every room. Like, I'm not trying to do bar shows, but they're good practice. It's good practice. Can I get the attention of people in a bar? It's good practice. I think every comedian should have a whole tool set in their pocket, and being able to work any crowd is one of your tools. You have to learn how to do that. And I think just trying to get up in front of different audiences is important. Your joke might be great in front of like an all white crowd. Your joke might be great in front of an all black crowd or Latino crowd or whatever. But can you make it great in front of all of them? Or an older crowd. Like, a lot of my comedy works well with like middle-aged to older people because a lot of it is family oriented. I talk about kids. I talk about married life. I talk about, the follies of being a father and stuff like that. I've done shows in front of like where the first two or three rows at the show are all like 20, 25-year-old kids. And they just stare at you like, all right, old man, get off stage. Fuck you, man. I'm gonna do me. It's okay. Everybody has their own audience. You have to find that niche audience. That's part of being a comic. If I step out of frame, so I gotta get some food for my dog, so I'm gonna do that real quick. But yeah. What the fudgy fudge? Oh. But yeah. That is today's agenda. Writing, and then go support some friends tonight. Maybe see if I can get on the show. Maybe I'll stream live tonight. See if they'll let me stream live. Just like walk in, streaming. Not record other comedians. I don't want to do that. That's effed up, dude. And my dogs are little finicky assholes, dude. Like, I love them to death, but like, they have weak stomachs or something, man. They barf a lot. Found out the best thing is cooking chicken. Cook chicken and put it in their kibble, and they eat that. I don't know. Less likely to barf it up. I don't know. As soon as I say barf it up, I hear one of them barfing. Hey. You all right? You go outside? Probably ate something stupid outside. That's probably what he did. Casper. My dogs, Casper and Shiloh. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm trying to, we're coming up on December 2023. I'm trying to figure out how to get more bookings, not locally. Like I feel like I'm getting a lot of bookings locally without being some famous celebrity comic that has a TV show or anything. I mean, obviously if you do that, you can get booked 7 nights a week, multiple shows in a night, which would be a good goal. But my goal right now is to get more bookings out of town, because if you can get the bookings out of town, you can get more time. Like how does a comic work on like developing a special? Well, when you're working a town like LA, you're lucky to get 10 minutes. You're really lucky if you can get 15-minute spot on a show. It's just, they're few and far between. There's so many comics in this town. They're all vying for attention. They're all trying to get on shows, and there's so many shows. So a lot of shows, will give, they'll have 10 comedians and have them all do 10 minutes each, and they might have like a feature headliner comedian come in and do 10 minutes do like 20 minutes or something like that. And it's really, and the person getting the 20 minutes is, SNL superstar Daryl Hammond, or, Bill Burr, shows up, or Kevin Hart walks in and gets you booted off the show because he takes up all the time and ends up doing an hour. Which, the audience is excited, because it's Kevin Hart and everything. And I was in a room, and Kevin Hart came in, and he ended up doing 45 minutes, and it was great. It was good to see him working his material out. It's inspiring, because I think a lot of comics want to get to that level, or at least get to some similar level, if they can. But we're starting off this next year pretty good. I have 3 shows booked in Wichita, Winnetka, I don't know. Was it Wichita, Kansas? Like Winnetka, I don't know. Wichita, Kansas. We got 3 nights in Kansas. I have 2 other local shows here in LA, and then also be producing my own shows starting January 26th. I'll be producing a show the last Friday of every month, which is cool. It's exciting. I'm excited. It's overdue. I've been doing this long enough. I have enough contacts. I should be producing my own shows. But yeah. We got to do some writing. I'm going to do some writing here in a minute. Looks like my camera's shaking a little bit. I think the ground shakes here. Like, I'm close to the freeway, so I think that's why the ground shakes. I don't know. It looks like my camera's shaking a little bit. Hopefully iPhone has like some stabilization thing. One of my notebooks, I have several notebooks, but I like this one. It's leather bound. But this is for writing jokes in. I write jokes and sets and stuff in here. Today, so like my set at the Haha, so this was on the 19th. I write little bullet points for the jokes, so like what I'm gonna write or what I'm gonna say. I generally don't need to take this up on stage with me, but like I have a bucket list joke. It's about 5 minutes long. It's a series of little stories, a list of things I don't like to do. But I have that on there. Then Battle Cry, it's a military joke. Washcloth, also a military joke. Oh, and then this bullet says animals. I have this joke about, the people who had the audacity to name animals. Like, if you ever think about that, like, who decided, like, it's an example of, like, where you start ranting and stuff, right? So, like, who had the audacity to name animals? If you think about this, too, say Joe Schmo back in, 2000 BCE, BC, is it BC, before Christ? Because now I heard it's like BCE, before Common Era, whatever, before 0, which, by the way, did they go, Happy New Year, last year was, 1,500. This year it's 1,499. Woohoo! And then the next year, woo! 1,498. That could be a good joke too. That's another thing too. Like, has a comedian talked about that? The countdown to zero. If you remember, like several years ago, there was this whole thing about the Mayan calendar ending in 2012. They made a movie about it called 2012, and like all the planets were gonna align or whatever according to the Mayan calendar, and then it ends, and that's gonna be the end of the world. Okay, that's old news, but did the people back in like 300 BC, 500 BC go, shit, the years are counting down? What happens when we get to zero? Do we all die? Does the world implode? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think the concept of the years came after. Because I think the countdown is to the birth of Christ. And then everything started counting up. Which, to me, if it's like, okay, if it's all centered, if the years are all centered around the birth of Christ, I think, well, I that's probably a simple Google search, right? Like, who created the concept of time? Like, I get calendars were created, like July and Augustus were added to the 10-month calendar to make it a 12-month calendar, and they were named after what was it, Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar. So obviously that's during the Roman times, Roman Empire. And there was a lot of scientists back then, so they were probably studying, going, oh, the calendar makes more sense with 12 months. But when there was 10 months, 10-month calendar, were they like 40-day calendars? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, 40 times 10 would be 400 days in a year. But if we were like, oh, the Earth cycles around I'm sure they knew at that point, like the cycle was roughly 360 days, 365 days. 370 days, somewhere in that area. So did a calendar have, because there was 10 months, did every month have 36 days, 37 days on average? I don't know. And then Caesar said, add me to the calendar, I guess. Again, another Google search, and you guys are gonna be like in the comments like, this guy's a fucking idiot, he's so stupid. I don't care. I went to college, I got my degree, but I didn't study history. But the real question, because we're not here to talk about history, is like, has there been jokes written about that? I'll have to Google that and see if there's any comedians who've talked about the months being added to the calendar. Has anybody talked about the countdown? Like, that's the shit, like, that's interesting to me. The fear. But going back to, like, we were talking about the calendar, like, obviously that's man-made. Like, the concept of time is man-made. One day someone went, this ball keeps showing up in the sky every day. It gives us obviously light because it's so bright. And then someone was like, there's another ball, white ball at nighttime, comes around once a month. I don't know. So they derived all that. So they studied that and then derived all the calendars and whatnot. But like the animal kingdom, like, who named everything? There's billions of species, insects, birds, mammals, fish, cold-blooded animals, warm-blooded mammal. Like, there's so much. So obviously it wasn't named by one person, but who started naming it? And you named a shark because you got in the water and you saw your buddy Bill get eaten by a shark. And you went, what the fuck is that? And then you decided, that's a shark. Like, who? And then how did you get it to stick? You put it on paper or you etched it into a rock? But the question is like, who did it? Who coined it? and coined it in a sense where it actually stuck, because there's billions of people on this planet, where there's like almost 8 billion people on the planet. But even if we went back 2,000 years, there still probably was at least 3 billion at that point. So Joseph's on this side of the planet and names a shark. But then on the other side of the planet in Indonesia or something, some kid gets eaten by a shark and someone's like, I'm going to name that a bear. But his idea didn't stick, obviously, because we call it a shark. Anyways, that's what that bullet is, animals. I'm trying to develop jokes around that. I have another thing here. It's a 55-gallon drum. It's a joke about my daughter and her dating wife is racist. It's a joke. It's a joke. But I have a funny story around it. My wife's Filipina. I'm white. And a lot of our friends, like, so many people here in LA are just mixed. Like, I'm starting to find it less and less common to find, like, a Latino guy married to a Latino woman. I'm finding it less common seeing a white man dated or married to a white woman. It's all mixed. Most of my friends are all mixed. Some of my closest buddies, Miguel, Mexican, married to a white woman. My buddy David Hardy, black man, married to a white woman. I'm a white guy married to a Filipina. The guy, and I could go down the list and just start naming everybody. I don't need to, but it's very common here in LA. I know that's less common when you get to smaller parts of the US. But yeah, my wife is racist. And this last thing is a car accident, which is actually a joke. My buddy helped me write. So I got in a pretty major car accident years ago, and my car got fucked up and got hit by some drunk drivers. So we incorporated that and wrote a joke around it, and it's a callback to my bucket list joke, which is awesome. I try to write these callbacks, these big, intelligent callbacks that can happen 10, 15 minutes later in my set. You don't see a lot of comics doing it right now. And it's great when you do it. It's so fun. I love smart, witty jokes. I love cleverness. And I like it when comics do that. And so that's always a goal of mine in my sets, is to have some kind of callback or multiple callbacks if I can. I'm losing my hair up top, growing my hair on the side. It's starting to look like, what's his name? Larry from the Three Stooges. People are like, oh, don't you look like that guy Curly from the Three Stooges? I'm like, no, Curly's the bald one. Well, you are losing your hair. Yeah. Oh yeah, back to joke writing. So I'm trying to, let's see, time, hobby. Got jokes around a new hobby. I got a Dodger joke, an edible joke. So when I'm writing, I try to think about stuff in like a rant. Something that pissed me off, rant about it. A lot of times I'll go to an open mic, rant about it first off without any notes. I'm just like, hey, here's how I joined the military, and rant about that. And I say rant because it was like I joined the military on like just a buddy's car didn't work. He asked me to drive him to the recruiting office, and then he fucking joined the military. Like, and I talk about that. But then what I do is I'll record it, take notes on it, and then go, okay, this is a funny idea. This is a funny concept. How can I write a joke into this? And then I use Greg Dean's technique, which is, you're trying to misguide your audience with a premise. Like, you guide them, not like lie or anything like that, but like you guide them this way, and then you use a misdirect. So, trying to think of a good example. Like one of my jokes, like I talk about like my HVAC system, my heating and air conditioning in my house. I was on the fritz, and I had to replace it. It was a that's not how the joke goes. I just say, like, I had to replace my HVAC system. It was a Gen Z model. It only worked when it felt like it. So I'm sitting there talking about my HVAC system, give them the model of the HVAC system, but then hit them with the, it works when it feels like it. And it's just a joke about the Gen Z, Generation Z, and these kids, you know, want to work, don't want to work, kind of do their own thing. So it's just kind of a jab at them. And I say my daughter absolutely hates that joke. Not because I'm making fun of Gen Z, but because she's Gen Z and they hate everything. It's worked. I've done that in some rooms and it's worked. Not everyone laughs at that. But yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out, like, every day I try to put my mind into writing. You know, to be honest, I don't write every day. I want to. I want to be like Jerry Seinfeld. The dude has boxes and boxes of legal notepads of nothing but notes and jokes and stuff. But, I mean, to be honest, you get lazy or you have writer's block. Like right now, I'm trying to think of like what I should be writing about. Maybe I should try to write some jokes about my shitty YouTube. How about I write some jokes about how I've been trying to grow my social media for years. And I can't seem to get anywhere with it. I don't know. But that's the point, like, write some jokes. I would love to write some jokes about this gut. Yeah. I gotta lose this weight, man. Part of writing jokes too is like, who are you? So a lot of times I try to think of my own stories. Like I have a joke that I wrote about how I lost my virginity to a Pamela Anderson poster. Ha ha ha. But in reality, I lost my virginity to my girlfriend in high school. Homecoming night in a room with 12 other people. They were asleep, but we weren't. And that seems weird for someone to lose their virginity in a room like that. No. So there's got to be jokes around that too. Like you can write jokes about anything, everything. I feel like writing jokes about being a homeowner. I love that I have my own house, but I hate the work that goes into it. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't want to get a condo. I don't want to pay for an HOA." So shit, I'd rather pay for an HOA and have someone do all the work, dude. You can get a condo and have an HOA for like $300 a month. Like, I'd rather have the $300 a month than have to replace my HVAC system for, $15,000. Oh. My mom and dad came out to our house last year for Christmas, and it was fantastic because they were staying with us, and I think they were here for 3 days, and then my mom went to take a shit, and our entire house backed up. Like, our plumbing backed up. I feel like writing a joke about that. My mom was so embarrassed, they went and got a hotel and stayed in a hotel the next few days. But we had a company come check it out. $13,000. $13,000. We had to repipe the entire house out to the street, under the street. $13,000. Like, I don't have $13,000 just laying around. Neither does my wife. Like, we do. Sure, homeowners. I want to be a homeowner. You don't realize, like, the cost. But the problem is, it's like, okay, when you do a joke, you got to relate to the audience. If I get up on stage and start talking about being a homeowner, most people here in LA have been here their whole lives and still rent. They're paying like $4,000 a month. My mortgage is half that. But it's like, you get up on stage and start talking about that, and then you alienate the crowd. You piss them off. Oh, here's a white boy with a house. Yeah, fuck you, white boy. Fuck you, rich man. And then they don't want to listen to the joke, even though you might just have some really, really good jokes in there. They're done listening. They tuned you out. I think I need a microphone. I don't know how well this iPhone mic is working. But anyways, I'm gonna write some jokes here, and I'll see you guys later. We gotta go to this comedy show later tonight. I ordered a car mount too, so I think I want to get a mic, and then I ordered a car mount so I can at least take you guys on the road with me. Because again, this is the comics journey. This is what we do every day. You have to work through all this shit. You have to work through all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly. All right. What's up, y'all? So I'm over here in Van Nuys, California. I have my friends, Marissa Fennell and David Hardy. They're a married couple doing a show tonight. They're part of my comedy circle. It's so important as a comedian to create like a family, people that you relate with one way or another, people you want to write jokes with, people are going to go out and support, people that you just enjoy being around. If you end up doing shows together and you ride in the same car, like, that's so important. Like, I've been in several shows where we've had to go out on the road, and like, sometimes you end up writing jokes. Like, actually, often you'll start writing jokes and you're like, oh, can I use that? Like, I want to use that on stage. You're like, yeah. And then you go there to wherever you're performing, and then you get up on stage and you try it. You're like, holy shit. Excuse me. Drinking my Starbucks coffee. Yeah. But you try the joke out, you try out the material, and then when you get off, they're like, dude, that fucking worked. That was so dope, dude. I'm like, yeah, dude, thank you so much, man. Thanks for the tag, or thanks for the joke idea. Because sometimes, like, you hang out with people and you have like a good idea for them because you hear their sets over and over. You hear their material. You go, oh, my buddy's really political and gets really deep into political shit. So you're all of a sudden, your brain, like, you hear something political, you're watching the news, whatever, and you're like, dude, here's a joke, or here's a premise for a joke, or here's an idea of a joke you can do. And you start working it out, hashing it out, dude. And then next thing you know, they got this amazing joke that they're throwing up on stage. But yeah, it's also like, I'm here to support them. They come out to so many of my shows, and I love them for that. They've come out to so many shows, and honestly, like, I've introduced them to people. I've helped get them booked at places because they're freaking hilarious people. Two of the funniest people I know, and like, honestly, they should just be bigger. They should be bigger. I think my career has moved. I've only been doing this for 5 years, and in the grand scheme of things, that's still, like, I'm still a baby as a comedian. I'm still a baby in this business. But I feel like I'm a lot further than a lot of people who are 5 years into this business, because I use a lot of my business know-how from my days at USC. You know, I got my business degree at USC Marshall, and I try to use that to my advantage. You know, last week I got 3 comedian friends of mine and myself booked, and we ended up doing a private show for a bunch of USC people. It was a backyard show, and it was fantastic. It was awesome. We each got 15 minutes. We each got paid. And I love that, and I want more of that. And Marissa and David, I actually wanted to book them for that show too, but they couldn't because it was the day before Thanksgiving, and they already had plans. So that's fine. But they are part of my circle, and anytime I can get them booked, I'm going to book them. In fact, I'll probably tell them tonight, like I'd like to have them in my first show in January, the one that I'm going to be producing. Because they pull out people, they get people to come out to their shows, and they're funny. They're very funny. And anything I do, like I want them to be a part of it. Like they're part of my comedy family. So, but yeah, if this gets shaky, I'm sorry I don't have a mount. I'm going to just walk over here. It's going to get, you know what? I can't. I gotta get my jacket, I gotta get my stuff, and I gotta put the camera down. So, can't record inside a comedy show anyways. Like, it's people's intellectual property. Like, it's fucked up if you try to go record it. You hear it all the time. Comedians like, are you recording me? Or they, before you go to a comedy club, or you go in anywhere where they're doing comedy, there's always a big announcement at the beginning. Please, no photos and no video. I think the photo thing is bullshit. Like, take photos. Take photos of me. Please, take photos of me. Post them, tag them. I don't give a shit. And I think most comedians agree with that. I don't get the whole, like, please, no photography. I think the flash photography would throw you as a comedian, right? So if there's a big dark room with 2,000 people and flashes are going off, that would totally mess with you and mess with your, you're like, dude, it would be a huge distraction. So the photography thing, I don't get. Like, please post me all over social media, tag me all over social media. That's how our name gets out. So I don't get it when they're like, oh, no photography. Video, yes. Don't ever record other people's sets, dude. Like, we work hard writing our jokes. We get up and do these small shows to perform, to practice, to make people laugh in those audiences, but then to perfect the joke. You might say it 100 times, 500 times, 2,000 times before you get it ready to go and then record a special. You know, I think the end goal is to have a 45-minute to an hour special. And these are well-crafted jokes you've been working on, sometimes for years. And the better you get, I think the less time you have between specials. But for your first special, I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years. I plan on recording a special probably 2 years out, maybe 3 years out. So 8 years in, record my first special. Someone's like over here trying to like get into my spot. I think they think I'm leaving because my lights are all on, but I'm not leaving. Anyways, yeah. Just don't record other people's shit. All right, I lied. I said I wasn't going to record anymore, but here I am, walking down the middle of a street in Van Nuys on a Wednesday night, trying to find out where the show is. It's like in someone's backyard. Look, 5 years in, I'm still doing backyard shows. It's an opportunity to get up in front of an audience. It doesn't matter. Someone said to me last week, they were like, "Oh, it's just a backyard show." Like, why would you invalidate that? It's stage time. This shit takes years crafting. You got to get up and speak in front of people. Something might magically happen. Every time you get on stage, it's an opportunity for like a new joke. Something might come to your brain in the moment. All of a sudden, you're spitting out a new joke. You have something new. That would never happen if you stayed home and sat on your fat ass on the couch playing video games. But yeah. Starbucks. Wife says I need to own stock in Starbucks. Probably true. Anyways, I'm here. All right, fam. Love you.